When it comes to building out your list of projects in OmniFocus, I think it's really important to nail down what you're going to group them by. Yes, you could have just a straight up list of projects that your whole structure operates off of, but in most scenarios, you're going to find people using folders to group them and keep track of what's going on with their life and their work. And I think that it's pretty common, especially like in my case and what I see in most scenarios, is people use areas of focus from the GTD language to do this. Now, in my case, you can see I have a lot of things here. Family, team. I tend to think of my personal family as a team. We're on a mission together and we're going to go achieve that mission together. I am the head of that team, and as the CEO of that team, I have a strong desire to make sure that I lead that team well. Thus, it's my area of focus. Health is another one that I have, super important. People, the relationships that I have in my life, I want to make sure that I keep up with those relationships. Personal growth. This is one that is easy to shirk the responsibility of, but growing as an individual and as a human, I find very exciting, but also very important. So I have to make sure that I keep that in alignment as well. Pro Course, H&A Tech, BCC, and ATV. These are all acronyms and such around the work that I do. Now, I could group this into one called career or work. I could do that, and I did do that for a long time. I found that it's more clear to me if I keep them all out and separate. These are specific areas that I'm working, and I want to make sure that I'm keeping track of them. But again, these are areas that I tend to focus my time on. Finances is, of course, an important one, keeping track of budgets, what it is I'm going to do as far as giving and such. There just seems to be a lot of projects and tasks, insurance and such that go into that, taxes. Those all end up in that particular area. Then we get into a couple of them here that they tend to flux. They come and go. I have one called intentionalism, one called security. I don't always keep things like this around, but I do bring them in once in a while whenever I find that it's something I need to specifically build into. Intentionalism, it's kind of my own play of words, similar to essentialism by Greg McEwen. This is a term that I've kind of pulled into myself, but basically being intentional with what I'm doing, no matter what it is that I'm doing. Sometimes it's easy for me to build in the habits of checking social media from time to time. And these are not things that I want to do. I want to make sure that I'm acting based on the way I intend and not just haphazardly. So I have an area of focus. I put projects in there and one-off actions that help me build in those habits on a more regular basis. Security, I'm becoming more and more privacy aware and want to make sure that I'm taking care of my own items. And doing that in a genuine way. So that's something I want to keep track of. This is things like the house, my cars, physical items that I need to act on, fixing dishwashers and such, changing out the brakes on the Suburban, et cetera, et cetera. That sort of thing goes in there. I think everybody has a unique set of these areas of focus, but I do find them extremely valuable to set these as folders in your OmniFocus system, because then you can build into each one. And this comes into play later on whenever we get into the review process, because it makes it easy to see if you're making progress towards each of those areas of focus. Now, something you'll pick up on very quickly in my structure is that I have these random lines, have different sections of grouping going on in this particular setup. It just makes it a lot cleaner to see. I have these 5 different sections. They have different levels of importance. Obviously, the horizons piece at the very top is extremely important. That's what sets the direction for the entire system. Going to the next section, these are things I tend to do in the morning, or they are the first thing that I need to do in the day. Then I get into my areas of focus, which are in a very specific order. To me, these are the order of priority. These are all, the order of this will all come into play when we get into perspectives and such later on. But it is very important to set these up in a specific order. Under those areas of focus, I have routine-based tasks. So if you think about this as far as the flow of the day, the most important is setting guidance for the day. Then I have my morning routines. I have the work, the big piece of the day of getting things done throughout my day. When I come to wrapping up my day or things in the evening, ritual-based things, et cetera, That's when I get into this afternoon, neutralize, etc. pieces. Down at the very bottom, it's just kind of a catch-all. Templates, someday maybe lists, and my checklists. These are things that I don't need to go into my normal lists, but I need to have them around in my OmniFocus structure. But so the order of these is very important. I really like having the lines there. Those are just single action lists. They're not anything specific. They're just single action lists that are designed to have the line go across. They never get checked off. They're set to review once every 100 years. There's nothing special about them. They are simply there as dividing lines. So it's kind of nice, makes it easier to see. Now, another obvious piece here is I use emoji. This is super, super nice whenever it comes to review time and you're trying to see where these things come from. You're looking in the available perspective. You're doing your work throughout the day. Like, it just makes it easy to see, where does this come from? You know, are these all from the same project? Is this something that's coming from a work area, or is this coming from my family team area? Where is this coming from? Super, super helpful to have there. So when you're building all of this out, think these things through. Mine is 100% based on setting up the flow of my day, and it's designed towards building habits in my day. That's what you're shooting for. If this is going to enable you to be productive in the day and allow you to be intentional with your day, that's what you want. That's 100% the focus of what I have here. I truly hope that that is something that you can do in yours, but using that structure is one that I have found extremely helpful for quite a long time now.